Simply pack a shoebox with fun toys, school supplies, and hygiene items, then bring it to a drop-off location during National Collection Week, November 15th through the 22nd. You can also build a shoebox online. The best part is the good news of Jesus Christ is shared alongside your gift. To get started, visit klove.com and click on the Operation Christmas Child banner, presented by Samaritan's Purse, a supporter of Canada.
You know when you order a new video game, or a golf club, or a blender, and then it arrives at your door. You get a little thrill. Imagine how much more thrilling it is when you order a new car. With Nissan at home, you can shop for the perfect ride and order it without ever having to go anywhere. Sure beats a golf club or a blender. Buy a new car entirely online with Nissan at home. Delivered direct from dealer to driveway. Thrill starts here.
I know everything there is to know about running a coffee shop, but for small business insurance,
I need my State Farm agent.
they make sure my business stays piping hot. And I stay cool and confident. See, they're small business owners too, so they know how to help you best. State Farm is in your corner and on it. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
I've heard about Tecate, but have you heard about Tecate Alta? Introducing new Tecate Alta, born without borders. A cerveza suprema with only 84 calories, 2.4 carbs, and Tecate's signature refreshing taste. New Tecate Alta, cerveza suprema, beyond expectation. Mexico is in us.
One imported by Cervezas Mexicanas, White Plains, New York.
Pumped to tell you about my new project, Cooking Up a Storm. I'm going to whip up a Thanksgiving feast with some amazing friends. Listen to Cooking Up a Storm wherever you get your podcasts or watch on Today All Day streaming on Today.com.
And by getting a real ID, you're officially ready to get back in the air and back to the people and destinations you love. Starting May 3rd, 2023, you'll need a federally accepted form of identification, like a real ID, to board domestic flights. Whether it's a friend's trip, an overnight family reunion, or a getaway with your partner, a real ID will help you get there. Don't wait for the rush. Start the Real ID application online at californiarealid.org.
I slept.
New ZzzQuil Pure Z's Restorative Herbal Sleep is made for people who are tired of being tired.
I've never slept like this before. I've never woken up like this before.
A melatonin-free sleep aid made with a botanical blend that contains clinically studied and effective valerian root, hops, and passion flower, shown to help promote better restorative sleep. ZzzQuil Pure Z's Restorative Herbal Sleep. Sleep this good, feel this good.
Which can make you about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. If you're having these symptoms, don't wait. Talk to a doctor by phone, online, or in person.
Brought to you by...
Stop by your neighborhood grocery outlet and take advantage of our extra 20% off wine sale. Every single bottle of wine is now... That's right, every single bottle. We have hundreds of wines to choose from. Selection varies by store. The holidays are right around the corner, and a bottle of wine makes a great gift. Entertain family and friends, or enjoy a perfect complement to a perfect meal. Stock up and save 20% on wine through November 9th. Only at your local grocery outlet.
Grocery outlet, bargain market. Small business owners during their busiest time of year. Switch now and we'll pay up your phone up to $1,000. You keep your phone and your number. Plus get $200 in Facebook ads on us, so you can reach more customers and finish this year strong. Visit your T-Mobile store and make the switch today.
Prepaid card for eligible device payment. Allow 15 days. Qualifying credit service quote and timely redemption required.
Just imagine, faster downloads, more streaming, the possibilities are endless. That's more speed, and you'll save money for AT&T. Get an eligible 5G phone on us, and for a limited time, $300 back. So what are you waiting for? Sign up now because you deserve awesome internet. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit the store today. The call coverage is more knowledgeable. Customers only. Equipment, taxes, fees, extra, subject to change. After term, regular rates apply. Compares monthly service charge to Xfinity, 600 megabits per second, AT&T 500 megabits per second, speeds with one unlimited mobile line per year after 2621. New speeds up to 20 gigabytes of mobile usage.
Let's get ready to rumble! Welcome to the show. My name is Charlton with Big C. This is Charlton and Big C Sports coming to you worldwide on the Big C Sports Network. on the #1 network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe, according to Big C and them good old boys around the country. I think I just heard some lightning. It's all fair and level war on a beautiful November the 9th, 2021. Grando Deportes, Bonjour, de Veni Vidi Beaches, all fair and level war. Yeah, I did hear some lightning. It's something that's lightning for Big C Sports Podcast. Really do appreciate it. As I say, let's get ready to rumble. And welcome to the show. My name is Charlton with Big C. Today is a beautiful November the 9th, even though there has been a little bit of bad weather in Northern California. I don't know if you call bad weather thunder and also lightning, but in my recollection, when it thunders and lightning, it's called bad weather. But it's all fair and level world. We will always do the show, even in the rain, if it's thundering and lightning. As I always say, welcome to the show. Big C Sports. Today's show is sponsored by your Northern California Cadillac dealers, home of the all-new Cadillac Escalade, the standard of the world. When you reach out and test drive yours, tell them it's drops and lightning. Tell them Charlton and Big C Fitness is all fair and level war. Also, you can follow Big C Sports all around the world on 17 podcast applications, from Google Podcasts, Alexa, Spotify, Speaker Podcast, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio Podcast, even Castbox Podcast, Deezer Podcast, Podcast Addict, Podchaser, even Geo Savan Podcast, out of London, England, where it thunders a lot, from what I understand. It thunders a lot in London, England, as well as Podtail, Podcast Addict. I mentioned that, Hubhopper, Stitcher, Radio Online, and Luminary Podcast. It's all fair and level where you can also follow us on 4 TV platforms all over the universe, whether that's Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. You can find us on Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, Xfinity, Comcast TV, and Apple TV. It's all fair and level war. I got to make sure I get them all right. You try counting to 4. See how well you do. It's all fair and level war. I really appreciate the way things are going with Big C Sports. You know, I love doing on every show that I do, I pay attention to my family legacy. My great-grandmother, Mamo, she was actually a seer, a person that kept the family together, always had food in the belly, made sure we all had love for each other. And then my grandfather, my great-grandfather's name was Pop, a former Negro League baseball player, made the best moonshine in the history of the universe. He's the first that said, let's get ready to rumble. Usually after he had about a half gallon of that moonshine, he would say, let's get ready to rumble. All fair level work. And then my grandmother, Madia, she was a seer, a very smart business person, made sure the family stuck together through thick and thin. And my grandfather, Hezekiah, also a very good man, made sure the family stuck together through thick and thin. My beautiful mother started a Head Start program in Northern California and also helped us win the Little League Championship of the universe. Really appreciate that. Always saying rise and shine. Love to give them all some praise. Give my mama some praise. All fair and level war, made sure that we always had food in the belly and the family stuck together. Very, very smart person. On my father's side, the patriarch of the family on my father's side, my grandfather, Albert Curry, he had 2 service stations in Oakland, California, also built 2 churches that he pastored in North and also Central California. My grandmother, she's the matriarch of the family. He's the patriarch. She's the matriarch. Helped her with the service stations and also with the building of the churches. That's a lot of hard work when you have family members that do those things and make sure that whatever they get in life, they try to give back. And so I really do appreciate all the things that my great family did. And my father, retired Air Force fighter pilot and chief mechanic, flew airplanes in the thunderstorms too. Made sure that airplanes could fly high so we could always be safe. It's all fair and level. And my brother Todd, the bombastic voice, his voice sounds like lightning. That's where his voice sounds like lightning. Always speaking of love and quietness, and really do appreciate that. I thank my beautiful son Malcolm for always sending me stats on NBA basketball, always all over that. Sends me a lot of information that I've been using on the show, Big C Sports Podcast. My daughter, Daisy, the most beautiful daughter in the history of the universe. I remember doing sporting events. She would always help me set up for events when coaches would come out to the West Coast, would help me set up tables and make sure to get information for those coaches and did all that good stuff. And then Big C, with all his knowledge in the past, really do appreciate. Give him all some praise. I said, give him praise. I told you I'm producing the show, so sometimes my producer a little bit sleeping in at times. All fair level one. ESPY nominated Big C Sports Podcast. As I always love saying, let's get ready to rumble. All fair and level word, Big C Sports Podcast. I love what I do. I produce the show. No script, No three-way teleprompters, no producer in my ear. I just do it with a little bit of earwax, and don't act like I'm the only one that has earwax, because everybody has earwax. It's good for you, keeps you warm in the wintertime. It's all fair. Love it. Work. Really do appreciate Big C Sports Podcast. I produce the show, direct the topics. I do all the sound effects, the commercials outside of the agency in New York, what they provide, and then the storytelling. Excuse me, did I break your concentration? I do all the play-by-play, touchdown, home run, three-point play. Oh, man, Willie, he's going all the way for the touchdown, even in the ring. Oh, man, really scoring touchdowns in the ring. You got to be an old-time Oakland Raider fan to really appreciate that. They're scoring touchdowns in the rain. Thanking Brittany Boyd also, one of the people in the media in San Francisco for Levi Stadium, a big-time Oakland Raider fan. Also make sure that everybody gets things done in the media boxes, all fair in San Francisco, California for the 49ers. Give Brittany Boyd some praise. Give her praise. Even worse than a lightning storm. All fair in level war. Really love sports in Northern California. I upload to 17 podcast applications. In fact, the agency does it. And I never miss a show of Big C Sports Podcast since starting in Big C Sports on September 12th, 2015. I want to say, give Big C Sports some praise. SP nominated Big C Sports Podcast. All fair in level war. Really love bringing you the sports show every single day. One of my favorite verses in the Bible is the book of Genesis, chapter 13, verse 15. For God said, for all the land that thou seest will I give you, and thy seed forever. In the book of James 4:2, you have not because you ask not. So if you want them to just ask, the answer is either yes or no. It might be no a couple times, but eventually it's going to be yes. But you got to keep asking. You got to keep asking whatever you're doing. Give Big C Sports Podcast some praise. Really love what we're doing, even in the thunderstorm. Every now and then, people in life go through thunderstorms. I will always make sure I pay homage to our Veterans Crisis Hotline. They really are experienced, making sure that veterans get what they need. Everybody needs to find a way to help out to a veteran. They are experienced doing it. You got to pick up the phone and call 800-273-8255. That's 800-273-8255. If you're online, simply go to veteranscrisisline.net. That's veteranscrisisline.net and get our veterans some help. Or you can text 838-255. That's 838-255. That's all fair and level war. So as I always say, give our veterans some praise. Don't just say congratulations, thanks for your service. Give them praise. Give them praise, praise, praise. I love giving praise to our military veterans. They fought even in thunderstorms, if that makes sense to you. When people hide, they run through the storm to make sure we're safe. That's why I love honoring our veterans every show. Also, very happy to be affiliated with Valley Homes Weekly TV on Dish TV, DirecTV, AT&T Uverse TV of the first place San Francisco Giants, at least when they were playing baseball. Now they're no longer the first place San Francisco Giants anymore, but I still give them praise because they won the most records. They had 107 wins in Major League Baseball this year, even though they lost to the Dodgers. Yeah, beat LA didn't work too well that time. But I love doing Big C Sports Podcast. Our goal is simple in real estate. We want to recruit 10,000 real estate agents and brokers all over this great country to help them get their properties on television, just like State Farm does it. McDonald's does it. Nike does it. Car leaderships do it. Sports teams are doing it. Watch TV and real estate work for you with the real estate sports dating app. Go to bigcsports.pacwm.com. Most of our loans are underwritten by Rocket Mortgage and United Wholesale Mortgage, the number 1 and 2 lenders in the country on the wholesale side. And they do their loans faster than I talk. You know that's fast. But you got to do it even in a lightning storm. They will get your loan done even in a thunderstorm. It's all fair in love and war. I really do appreciate saying thank you to Xfinity Comcast TV and Comcast Spotlight Effect TV for presenting Big C Sports to the universe. Just like in Genesis 1:3, God said, let there be light. Say play Big C Sports Podcast. You'll hear our apps pop up all over the world. Really do appreciate that. Even in a thunderstorm, you can follow Big C Sports. I'm the only guy foolish enough to be out doing a podcast in this thunderstorm, but the show must go on. You gotta take one for the team every now and then. If I get struck by lightning, it's because I'm taking one for the team. That's not a smart thing to do, but hey, who said you gotta be smart to do a podcast? It's all fair in love and war. Also, I want to say thank you to Budweiser Zero. It has 0% alcohol, 100% on its game. Sports fans, when you're watching the big games, watch it with the Big C Burger. Eat the Big C Burger. It's a tasty burger, and it comes with what's all this you gotta eat. If you feel a rumbling in your tummy, you probably had too many Big C Burgers. With that lightning, I was at my stomach rumbling. I was having a good day on this beautiful November the 9th. It's all fair and level war with Big C Sports. Must be lightning in the muse. I think the 49ers fans, they have a commercial that they run. It's so funny. They're saying on the radio commercial for the 49ers, there must be gold in them their heels. Well, where there's gold, there's probably lightning too. There must be gold in them their heels. That's the commercial. That's put up by the 49ers. It's all fair in Love and War. I really do appreciate bringing you some stuff on NBA basketball, the power rankings. Also got some college football rankings. They go up and down. It seems like every week a team gets knocked off. I got some HBCU rankings also for the historically black colleges and universities. And a little bit of stuff on the NHL. We'll try to get it all to you as we go to Big C Sports. We're going to take what's called the Big C Pause, also known as the Big C Timeout. And when we come back, we're going to talk about some of the sports. In the words of the former California Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger, I'll be back. All right, we are back from the Big C Pause, also known as the Big C Timeout. You can follow Big C Sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on 17 podcast applications all over the universe. Really do appreciate that as we come to you live on November the 9th. A beautiful Tuesday, if you consider a beautiful Tuesday. Can it be beautiful when it's actually rainy outside and lightning? I guess it can be beautiful if you like lightning. Just don't get hit by it. It's all fair. In Leavenworth, thank goodness they play basketball games on the inside of arenas all over this great country. And when you think about NBA basketball, kind of a light schedule today with the NBA games, TV schedules, also some fantasy picks and some bets that for people that get into fantasy sports, however you make your money, there's nothing wrong with that. But fantasy sports is big in this country. If you're seeking when and where to watch NBA games today, you've come to the right place. It's called, I'm going to give you a drum roll. It's called 1, 2, 3 Big C Sports Podcast. That's right. Give it some praise. Big C Sports Podcast all over it. Thank you, my son Malcolm, sending me a lot of stuff on NBA basketball. The 2021 regular season, it's all fair in love and war. When you think about the games and people get into fantasy sports and betting, that's for people that really love, like the crowd gets crazy about games. But there are some 3 NBA games today. Tuesday's NBA action is headlined by a doubleheader on TNT. That's with Charles Barkley, Shaq, and Kenny the Jet Smith that will do their thing with Ernie. And then starting with the Milwaukee Bucks going up against the Philadelphia 76ers and the Los Angeles Clippers hosting the Portland Trailblazers in the second half of a back-to-back. The Atlanta Hawks, those birds from the South, will take flight in Utah to take on the Utah Jazz in the beautiful city of Salt Lake City, Utah. Give that some praise. Give it praise. Give NBA on TNT with Big C Sports some praise. It's all fair in love and war. When you think about the games, the Bucks at the 76ers already tipped off at 7:30 p.m. East Coast time on TNT, followed by the Atlanta Hawks. It's a 9 p.m. tip-off East Coast time on TNT, 6 o'clock on the West Coast. And then that's on AT&T, South, I guess a Sportsnet, and Bally Sports Southeast when you look at the Jazz game and also the Atlanta Hawks. The Blazers tip off at 10 o'clock p.m. East Coast time on TNT. That's the Blazers at the Clippers on TNT. And then Bally Sports in Southern California. You can check out those games there. When you think about the daily fantasy basketball picks, everybody has their own opinion about it. But pay attention to Donovan Mitchell, the guard out of Utah, the hot shot guard out of Utah. And then Seth Curry, love his last name. In fact, I've been told that the last name, they've been looking at doing a survey for the best name in the universe, and Curry was considered the best name in the universe. Give that Dave Curry some praise. Give him praise, right? And I wish I could shoot like him. All fair and level war. Even his brother Steph Curry is a great shooter. I got the same last name, but my 3 points don't drop as much as they do. It's all fair and level war. But Portland Trailblazers, King Paul George, the forward for the Los Angeles Clippers. You know, Curry's the guard for Portland Trailblazers. When you think about King Giannis Antetokounmpo for the defending NBA champion Milwaukee Bucks, even though they're not playing like it this year, give King Giannis some praise. They got to play better. If they want to be the champions, they got to play a lot better. Andre Drummond, the center for the Philadelphia 76ers. Never saw a Philadelphia cheesesteak he didn't like. Anthony Simmons, that good old boy is a guard for the Portland Trailblazers. Bogdan Bogdanovic, the forward for the Atlanta Hawks. He can shoot the lights out. And the great Shake Milton, the guard for the Philadelphia 76ers. You can give all those good old boys some praise. Give them praise, and give them all the Big C burgers. It's a tasty burger, and it comes with all those exotic meats. Now, for the people that love the point spreads and the betting for NBA best bets for November 9th, Utah Jazz, they're 7.5-point favorite over the Atlanta Hawks. They're home. They may get the home calls. The crowd's always very raucous up in Utah, Salt Lake City. Milwaukee Bucks there, 6-point favorite over the Philadelphia 76ers. Joel Embiid having the COVID protocol, that's going to hurt Philly a little bit in that game. But what a marquee matchup. Joel Embiid versus Giannis Antetokounmpo. But we'll have to wait. That's on pause. LA Clippers, only a 3-point favorite over Dollar Dame and the Portland Trailblazers. You got to give them all some praise. They can all shoot the lights out. Looking forward to that. Hopefully they'll avoid any lightning strikes too. Really appreciate that. It's all fair level war. That's Big C Sports on a beautiful, I guess you could call it beautiful. Is it beautiful when it rains and when it's raining outside, and also when you have a little bit of lightning? Is that beautiful? The crowd show up anyway. The show must go on no matter what. But that's the NBA schedule for tonight. A lot of these players are on the 75th anniversary All-Star team for the NBA. I really appreciate that. I'm going to bring you Big C Sports, the power rankings. A lot of people go to ESPN and find sports stories and streaming, whether it's UFC or NHL or NBA basketball. I love bringing it to you live on Big C Sports, the only sports show in the universe with a live lightning bolt. My lightning bolts are real. I stand out in the middle of a store and try to find lightning. Be careful. Yeah, don't try it on your own if that makes sense to you. But the only Big C Sports, the only show with a real lightning bolt, all friend love and war. NBA power rankings. I know this season's early, but when you think about some of the best teams in the NBA, obviously I like the Golden State Warriors. I still look at the Philadelphia 76ers, the Miami Heat, Milwaukee Bucks. They're going to get things right. Brooklyn, not so sure. Lakers, they will figure things out as we get down to the final of what happens in NBA basketball. Not really going to count on records, but coming into the season, I'm going to say number one in Big C's NBA basketball universe, the Golden State Warriors. Warriors, come out and play. You got to come out and play. Golden State, they just keep rolling, having won 4 in a row in advance of Monday's game against the Hawks. They beat the Hawks also. Aside from strong play by Seth Curry, the great Stephen Curry is amazing, and Draymond Green to start the season. Coach Kerr's gotten an unexpected lift from Gary Payton II. You got to look at the Golden State Warriors. That's a team that I'm looking at coming out at least in the Western Conference Championship. Whether it's thunder and lightning, the Splash Brothers will reign in the city by the bay as they will get into the Western Conference Championship. Maybe, just maybe, the NBA Championship. Number 2, the Philadelphia 76ers, when Tobias Harris got yanked off the court minutes before tip-off Monday night due to the league's health and safety protocol. An ugly week appeared to be in store for the Philly cheesesteak, or would that be the 76ers? But the 76ers, they ripped off 4 straight wins and have the best record coming out of the East. They just got to keep their players healthy, pay attention to the COVID protocol, and make sure that they can all stay healthy. They get the Big C burger, the Philadelphia 76ers and the Golden State Warriors, the top 2 teams, and Big C's NBA power rankings on this beautiful November the 9th. Number 3, the Miami Heat. They pulled off a nice win over the Jazz on Saturday night. Tyler Hero and Jimmy Butler combined for 56 points. It was like 56 points in a lightning storm. Some good boys, give them praise. 56 points, and they can do it because they're aggressive with the basketball. Hero had a hot start to the season. Continues to average 21 points a game so far this season. The Heat have a big week coming up. They have a West Coast swing, and you know those good old boys in the West Coast like to put the heat out. They like to splash it out whenever they get the chance. They got a nice rematch coming up. Donovan Mitchell, Utah, coming up on Saturday. The Brooklyn Nets, I know they're struggling, so don't laugh because they don't have the great Kyrie Irving, but they'll find ways to win. The Bucks have both injuries and losses piling up. The Nets have quietly reeled off a couple of wins, 5 in a row, one behind the 76ers to sit atop the spot of the East. Given Brooklyn has clearly been taking his time and getting into form, they don't have who they really need, and we don't know if they're ever going to get Kyrie Irving back. But I give them praise for being in Big C's top 4 NBA power rankings. I'm going to give them some praise because they're doing it with who they have. Give them praise. I told you, everybody goes through a storm sometime in life. When you're going through a storm, don't stop. Keep going through it. The Utah Jazz, number 5 in Big C Sports NBA Power Rankings. 2 of the Jazz's 3 losses have occurred when Mike Conley was resting. Utah sitting with the veteran point guard, 1 game of back-to-back parts of the maintenance plan. Donovan Mitchell, I told you a lot of players will sit out just to kind of save their legs going down the stretch. The great Donovan Mitchell averaging 26 points a game, 7 rebounds, and 6.5 assists. You got to give that good boy some praise. He's bringing it like a lightning storm, brings it all the time. Just be careful, don't get hit by it. You really got to like what they're doing in Utah. The Dallas Mavericks, them good boys with the great Luka Doncic, becoming a tradition for the great Luka Doncic. He's a buzzer-beater guy waiting to happen. He's not afraid to shoot the ball either. Beat the Celtics when they visited Dallas, and ended each of Boston's past 2 visits such fashion by including Saturday's fadeaway three-pointer from the West Wing. It was like you could hear the announcer saying, Luka Doncic for the 3! That good boy has no fear, has ice in his veins. He deserves a Big C burger. It's a tasty burger, and it comes with what's all this exotic meat. He had 33 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assist games. You got to keep him healthy, and if he's healthy, they're going to be fine. Really like the way they play. The defending Western Conference champions, number 7 in Big C's NBA Power Rankings, the Phoenix Suns, another week, another step in the history. They got a win last night over the Sacramento Kings. Maybe got some good calls, too, that went their way, but the Suns do everything. Point guard, Chris Paul, like a good neighbor. Chris Paul is there, jumped at the number 3 in the all-time assist list. Number 3 on the all-time assist list for a guy that's 6 feet tall. Give him some praise. Give that good boy some praise. He knows how to pass the ball and score when he has to. He passed the great Mark Jackson and Steve Nash on Tuesday night against the Pelicans as they finished 18 assists, was his second most that they had in a game as the Suns. The most was 19 assists last season against the Pelicans, and 1 shy of the 20 he had in 2016 when playing for the Los Angeles Clippers. I want to say, like a good neighbor, the great Chris Paul is there. The great Chris Paul is there, knows how to get everybody involved. Number 8 in Big C's NBA Power Rankings, last year defending NBA champions, this year defending NBA champions, the Milwaukee Bucks. They dropped 5 of the past 6 games. The lone victory came against the Pistons. They're not the Detroit Bad Boys of old. But his offense has been struggling, kind of missing, hitching his giddy up, but they'll get it figured out. Drew Holiday is back from an ankle injury. The great Chris Middleton entered the NBA's health and safety protocol. Brooke Lopez dealing with some back issues. But a lot of guys just got to keep in mind the COVID protocol, health and safety, who you're around. Get your vaccinations, whatever it takes. Don't wait until you're taken to the hospital on a stretcher. Try to talk to your doctors about what you need and give everybody who gets vaccinated some praise. Not telling people what to do. But what do you think they do, the first responders? They go out and rescue people. Number 9, Big C's NBA Power Rankings, the Chicago Bulls. Yeah, I'll miss when they used to say, Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls. Well, they don't say that anymore. But this team is starting to play like it. Back-to-back losses against the Sixers slowed the Bulls' little early season momentum, but more tough games are on the way this week. A meeting with the Nets before the West Coast swing. But when you think about it, DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine, they are going to have a great season this year. And the Chicago Bulls, when you think about it, DeRozan averaging 27 points a game. LaVine is averaging 27 points a game. That's a tough backcourt to handle. So they're going to get a lot of wins this year for the Michael Jordan Chicago Bulls. Oh, Michael retired? Oh, my producer said Michael retired a long time ago, about 2 decades ago, golf first in level. But they're playing like it. Number 10. I believe there's gold in them there hills, as they say, there's gold in them there hills. The Denver Nuggets on Big C's top 10 in the power rankings. I put them doing their thing. The Denver Nuggets, Nikolai Jokic got kicked out of a game last night because of some dirty play. You don't want that from your MVP, but it happens. They continue to try to do it all for Denver. The great Nikolai Jokic even got kicked out. Maybe that's to make his teammates play a little bit more tough when he's getting bullied around. He's going to fight back. What they call the Empire Strikes Back. The Nuggets needed Nikolai Jokic to provide a game-clinching block to survive the Rockets 95-94 over the weekend. And now they might need the Joker to stop getting kicked out of games. Even with Michael Porter Jr. nursing a lower back pain, they really got to make sure he stays healthy. Without the great Jamal Murray, the Nuggets coach Michael Malone, he already concerned with that the Joker got kicked out of a game last night. So people are going to try to egg him on to have him do more of that. He has to realize, like the good old boys that settled the West, there's gold in them there hills. Getting kicked out of games doesn't help your team. Number 11, Big C, NBA Power Rankings. The Washington Wizards they were off to a 7-3 start. The best start since 2014-15 season. They got their 7th win over the defending champion Bucks with something they did not do much of last season. This is a team that plays well. And when you think about Montrezl Harrell continues to give the Wizards a bench scoring presence. Kyle Kuzma also does great, as well as Bradley Beal coming off the bench. So you got to give them some praise. Number 12, Big C's NBA Power Rankings, the New York Knickerbockers. Give us some praise. Madison Square Garden, number 1 show. The New York Knicks love seeing the Knicks play basketball. Coach Tom Thibodeau was really sour after Sunday's loss to Cleveland. New York's 3rd in 4 games. Going to try to rely strictly on offense. They're going to play a price for it. Thibodeau said anyone knows the coaching style. They got to play better. The Knicks, they're an NBA sensation. They love seeing the Knicks win. They got to keep rolling. Memphis Grizzlies, number 13 in Big C's NBA Power Rankings. Dylan Brooks out of Oregon is a stud of a player nearing his season debut after being sidelined with a broken left hand. He was assigned to the G League at Memphis Hustle for a day last week to participate in a simulated game. They need him to play great. He averaged 17.2 points a game. When he's in the saddle, then they play a lot better than when they don't have him in the saddle. Also, when you think about it too, Ja Morant, he's a star in the making. They got to get those good boys from Memphis. Don't just think about Memphis and moonshine. Think about Memphis and winning. That's a good basketball team. They're a young team. They're getting better. I like what I love to say. Oh, Canada, our home and native land. I love Toronto, Canada. Losses to the Cavaliers and the Nets over the weekend won't change the mood in Toronto. They really love the Raptors up north. When you think about the Raptors, they're sponsored by a tasty burger. It comes with, what's all this exotic meat? And the Raptors want to understand, pretty tasty. It's a gamey taste to it, but it's tasty with collard greens. Woo, collard greens and Raptor taste really good barbecued. But you think about the combination of 5-game winning streak that preceded them. Emerging rookie Scotty Barnes, and when you think about Pascal Siakam, they got to have those good boys ready in Toronto to give Canada's only team, I'm going to give Canada's only team a standing ovation since everybody else left. Vancouver Grizzlies left, and now they have the Toronto Raptors. They did win an NBA championship a couple years ago, give them praise. You know, everybody hates a front runner, and I think when you think about a front runner, Los Angeles can't say that. They have won the most championships in the NBA with 17 NBA championships, and so some people don't like the Lakers. They think the Lakers have too much. What they say, look at all the gold in them there hills. I met a real estate broker the other day. They talked about selling the houses, multi-million-dollar houses on the ocean, and they got $150,000 commission. That's a lot of money for one sale. And there's also, they get to see the thunder first when it hits the West Coast off the Pacific Ocean. Speaking of thunder and lightning, after going 1 for 13 in a loss to the Trailblazers in a game where the Lakers, they trail by as many as, it's hard to say this, but the Lakers trail at one time by as many as 34 points. They need the crowd to cheer louder. Maybe that's what it was. They need some lightning to wake them up. They need something. That's not good for the Lakers to deal with that, but they'll get things back when they get Russell Westbrook doing his thing. They're still trying to figure him out. He got to play at an elite level. They need LeBron James, King LeBron James, to come out of they kind of rest players right now. Anthony Davis had a little bellyache. Everybody, maybe some Pepto-Bismol or a Big C burger to help him out. But LA could use some big nights out of Westbrook. And also, they had a game against Charlotte and Miami to start the week. LeBron James still out with an abdominal strain. Here's a guy that works harder than anybody in the NBA. How is he always injured? Sometimes makes you want to go home. The great Arsenio Hall said that. But I still want to give the West Coast Lakers some praise. Give them praise, but they got to start winning. They just need that crowd at Staples Center to step up and start cheering maybe a little bit louder for the LA Lakers. It's all fair in love and war. I'm going to bring them again. I know they're not playing like it, but I'm still going to put them at number 15. I think they'll get better as the season gets closer. Number 16, Cleveland. This is for you. The Cleveland Cavaliers. 11 games into the season. When you think about it, Ricky Rubio played over 642 games coming in this week. Might have had his finest performance as a pro. The point guard dropped 37 points, a career high, 13 of 19 from the floor, 8 of 9 from 3, and 10 assists in a win over the Knicks at the Garden. And people say he's overrated. Not overrated. Give him praise. Give him praise and a lightning thunderbolt. Did his thing. The Cavs phenom. Something else about this team. Evan Mobley, who balled out 26 points and 9 rebounds and 5 assists, had a great night of his own. And you got to look at Cleveland. They don't have LeBron James. They struggle without him. But give that team in Cleveland, this is for you. Give them praise. They've been playing a lot better, especially without King LeBron James. And they're a young team, and they're just going to have to keep climbing that mountain. Number 17 in Big C's NBA Power Rankings, the Charlotte Hornets. Charlotte had dropped 4 in a row after letting a possible win over the Clippers slip away in the fourth quarter Sunday night. The good news for the Hornets is that the great Miles Bridges continues to put up big numbers, evidenced by dropping 32 points, 9 rebounds in his performance. And if you don't think that deserves some praise, you're not watching basketball. Give the great Miles Bridges some praise and a lightning bolt. Only Big C Sports Podcast has a lightning bolt. Just don't get hit by it. It's all fair in level war. I'm telling you, the Hornets have that good West Coast spring coming up. I'm going to take you also down in the West Coast. They're doing their thing. The Portland Trailblazers. Dollar Dane never saw a dollar he didn't want to pick up. The Blazers capped off a kind of a tough week, winning their second straight game and blowout shorthanded of the Lakers 105-90. It was a tough week for Portland, not only because they were in a 3-game slide earlier in the week, but the franchise announced that it had hired independent firms to investigate the review concerns about workplace environment under the general manager, Neil Oshley. Now, it's just another storyline to add to the drama that surrounded the Blazers. You know, there's a lot of stuff going on. Chauncey Billups got hired. He has a background. Is this a place that Dollar Dame wants to stay? I've been saying he needs to get out of there like lightning. Strike, leave. Get out of there. You have a great career ahead of you. That's just my opinion. He would do better in the Golden State uniform. But I put them in number 18. Number 19, Big C's NBA Power Rankings, the Atlanta Hawks. The great John Collins' efficiency has been on the full display in his first 10 games. The previous 3, Collins' usage has hovered about 22%, 23% this season. He's dropped 18% from making most of his time with the ball. He started off shooting 59% from the field, 42 from 3-point range. When you shoot 59% from the field and 42 from 3, that's enough to give that good boy some praise. I'll give him praise and a lightning bolt. He deserves some praise. The Atlanta Hawks got to start winning better. Atlanta Hawks! Love the Atlanta Hawks. Their uniforms when they do the MLK are really amazing. Number 20 in Big C's NBA Power Rankings, the Los Angeles Clippers. After a slow start, King Paul George. Remember, Kawhi Leonard's not playing with him. He's still nursing that injury. But the Clippers have to fight back. They got to have that fight in them that they had in the playoff run last year that helped them reach the conference finals last season. They won 4 straight. They rallied from deficits in 3 of those victories. They came back from 20 points down to beat Minnesota. You should come back from 20 points down to beat Minnesota. Give us a praise. And the Big C Burger is a tasty burger. And it comes with what's all that exotic meat. When you think about it, the Clippers, Serge Ibaka back from back surgery, underwent last postseason. Tyronn Lue beginning to look more like himself. I think the Clippers are going to be just fine as the crowd stands up and gives them good boys praise. All fair in level war. Going to run down Big C's NBA top 20. The Sacramento Kings, 2 nights after dropping 140 points to the Hornets. One of the surprise success stories in the early going thus far. I picked the Kings to make the playoffs this year to end their 14-year drought, but they must have just 91 points at home in the loss to the Pacers, and they had another close loss to the Phoenix Suns. So they can't go back to what they used to be. They got to get a lot out of De'Aaron Fox to lead that team. Barnes is doing his thing, and Buddy Hield, one of the top 3-point shooters in the history of the universe. All fair in level war. Number 22, the Boston Celtics, the great Johnny Most. Boston Celtics, man, they need some leprechauns. The Celtics had a fourth quarter collapse Monday night at home against the Bulls. Hard to explain that. Foul by Marcus Smart that helped lead Luka Doncic's Heroes against Dallas. And then Saturday, but those 2 losses on both sides of the impressive sweep of Orlando and Miami in the road back-to-back. Boston has a roller coaster season, but I'm sure when they get more leprechauns, maybe they need some lucky charms. And some thunder and lightning, they'll get back on the side of the winning. Thunder and lightning help everybody win. All fair on the board. Number 23, Big C's NBA Power Rankings. Indiana Pacers, they won 3 of their last 4 games and notching a win on the road the first time this season Sunday against the Sacramento Kings, even without their leading scorer, Malcolm Brogdon, who missed the past 2 games with a non-COVID related illness. All fair and level war. The number 24 Big C's NBA Power Rankings. The Minnesota Timberwolves is sponsored by the Big C Burger. It's a tasty burger, and it comes with what's all this exotic meat? That's like saying it's a gamey meat, but it's exotic. A winless homestand put the Wolves on a 4-game losing streak, and it snapped the swagger out of the team that started 3-1. They got to get things back on track, but they're not a good team. They're young. They got to keep bouncing that ball and trying to mix the ball around. Number 25 in Big C's NBA power rankings is San Antonio Spurs. Dejounte Murray continued to start strong in the season, averaging 18 points a game, 8 assists, and also, when you think about it, I think about it this way. Coach Pop's been coaching and winning a long time. This team is going to have to go through some challenges. The stats would put them in the rare air. Actually, 8 assists a game also, 2 steals per game. But it's still the Mavericks. They got to find a way to just work together. Coach Pop can kind of mold them into being a better basketball team. But they're going to be down around the lower of the pack of the NBA. The Oklahoma City, I would be remiss if I didn't say in Big C's power rankings, the Oklahoma City Thunder, give them some praise. Thunder and Lightning, I know they're playing bad basketball this year, but they have gotten a win over the Lakers twice. Oklahoma City riding a 2-game winning streak for the first time since early March. When you think about it, this is a team. They have Gilgeous Alexander's brilliant performance in the Thunder comeback win over the Lakers on Thursday last week. And a clutch 3, it highlighted a 28-point, 6-assist outing. It reminds NBA fans that this team used to be good, but they're going to have to struggle and fight through some growing pains. Number 27 in the NBA Big C's power rankings, the Orlando Magic. You believe in Magic? Of course you do. Not just at Disney World. The Orlando Magic second-year guard Cole Anthony had another big night Sunday, surprising win over the Jazz. Everybody was surprised, especially the Jazz. A career-high 33 points, while young forward Wendell Carter Jr. dropped in 22 points and 15 rebounds. That's a young team. Give them some praise. Young players being able to knock off the Jazz. All that jazz. They got to keep playing better if they want to have a better record. Number 28 in Big C's NBA power rankings, the Houston Rockets. The big man, Christian Wood, the Rockets' leading scorer, he said that Saturday's loss to the Nuggets that he'd like to be featured more prominently in the offense. When you get the ball, you just got to make it score. They have a bad team in Houston, but they got to keep working at trying to get better, as everybody does. Everybody wants the ball more. You're going to get the ball more when you start winning. And when you win, then it solves a lot of problems. But if you don't win, everybody wants the ball more. But it doesn't mean that you deserve it. Try to go out there and score more points when you do have the ball. That's all you can do. Number 29 in Big C's NBA power rankings, the Detroit Bad Boys. Hold on, I think my producer messed up in that one. It's not the Detroit Bad Boys. It's just Detroit. It's just Detroit right now. But they are the Detroit Bad Boys. I love mentioning that. 17-point, 4-rebound performance. Cade Cunningham, his 4th game, earned the Pistons rookie some high praise from the Nets superstar Kevin Durant. When Kevin Durant says you got game, you got game. Give Kevin Durant some praise for just knowing talent when he sees it and not being afraid to tell somebody that he got game. The great Spike Lee had a movie about that years back in the day. But going to be a tough player for a long, long time. Detroit has only they just got to a bad start. They're young, and they got the whole world ahead of them, all fan level. And number 30 in Big C's NBA power rankings, when you think about it, it was Willie Green's reunion tour last week for New Orleans. You know, Zion Williamson not playing this year because of injury still. The first-year head coach traveled back to Phoenix, where he was an assistant the past 2 seasons in Golden State, where he worked prior to that. Unfortunately, the Pelicans could not get a win for him. Without Zion Williamson and then Brandon Ingram, it's going to be hard for them. He has a hip issue, Brandon Ingram, but still give them praise because they show up even when it's thundering and lightning. We're going to take what's called the Big C pause, also known as the Big C timeout. When we come back, we're going to talk more about what's going on in the world of sports. In the words of the former California Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger, I'll be back. All right, we are back from the Big C pause, also known as the Big C timeout. You can follow Big C Sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on 17 podcast applications all over the universe. Really appreciate that. And 4 TV applications, really do appreciate with Big C Sports. You know, I love getting into college football. I'm going to start with the HBCU, the power rankings for the HBCU. Love making sure that they get a lot of praise. And I'm just going to go down. I'm not going to go to 20 schools. I'm going to pick up a couple of programs and the HBCU power rankings that I really love bringing attention to them. Part of the conferences come from the SWAC, the MEAC, the SIAC, and the CIAA. in the OVC and Big South teams. The SWAC and MEAC are highly contested conference races. It's all fair and level war. I'm going to look at some of the top teams that I love talking about in the HBCU. Number 1, Jackson State. Them Good Boys are 8-1 on the season. They are a dominant team. They showed TSU that they're indeed the real Tiger Kings on Saturday with a big win. Texas Southern team had no intentions conceding to Jackson State, and a blow-by-blow with number 1 ranked Tigers. But Jackson State, Deion Sanders also back on the mend from some foot surgery, but they're a good team. He's really gotten them on the right side of the fence. Number 2, well, first of all, let's go give Jackson State some praise. Give Jackson State some praise and give them the Big C Burger. It's a tasty burger, and it comes with what's all this exotic meats. Number 2, Prairie View A&M. The Panthers had a homecoming celebration, took out the Stingers over Alabama State Hornets, and they are 7-1 on the season and 5-0 in the SWAC. That's a good team down there in the HBCUs. Really appreciate paying homage to the HBCU programs. Number 3, Florida A&M. They are 7-2. The Rattlers, they aren't done yet. Speaking of Rattlers, it's a tasty Rattler sponsored by the Big C Burger. It's a tasty burger, and it comes with what's all this exotic meat? Last I heard of Rattler. It's exotic meat. Make sure you, if you eat rattlesnake, make sure you cook it. Don't eat them raw, as some guys do. That's a good up, boys. They're a good team, and the Rattlers, you got to have a good team when your nickname is a Rattler. Really appreciate the way they're playing football this year down in the HBCUs. Number 4, Bowie State. They're 9-0. The Bulldogs, they beat up on Elizabeth City State University. They thought they were playing basketball. It was 79-6. Isn't that something? That's called a whipping. You got to give them some praise. They're a really good team. 9-1 on the season, 7-0 in the CIAA. They're going to face the Broncos of Fayetteville State University that are 8-1 and 7-0 in the CIAA on Saturday, November 13th. So that should be a good game in the HBCU. I want to make sure we give that some praise. Give them some praise. The HBCU playing really good football. Also, in Big C's HBCU power rankings, Norfolk State, them Good Boys, coming in at 6-3 on the season. And a lot of the HBCUs, the media, they disagree that they should be ranked that high. But they beat Alcorn State in the SWAC MEAC Challenge this past August to open college football season. And then on Saturday, it squandered a 21-point lead in the homecoming game and fell in overtime 38-36. But they're still a good team. All friend, love boy. You can't please everybody with the rankings. But I'm just going to say that there are a lot of other teams to watch in the HBCUs. Albany State, they're 9-1. Fayetteville State's 8-1. Alabama A&M is 5-3. South Carolina State is 5-4. And then also Tennessee State, them Good Boys are 5-4. What I love about the HBCU is they have the flavor, they have the bands, they have all of the great things from drum majors, and they put on a good show, not just on the football field, but they put on a good show outside of the field when their fans and their bands do, I would say, world-class celebrations. So give them some praise to HBCU from Big C Sports. Really do appreciate that. That's why I love also covering the HBCUs whenever it comes to Big C Sports Podcast. And also I want to say it's sponsored by the Big C Burger. It's a tasty burger, and it comes with what's all those exotic meats. You know, in the South, if you ever had oxtail, that's considered an exotic meat also. But give the Big C Burger some praise all over the South. Coming to restaurants near you. It's all fair in love and war. I'm going to just touch briefly on the college football top 20 in Big C Sports for a beautiful November the 9th. It's kind of rainy and dreary here in Northern California, but I still want to run through. I'm going to do more of a drop running through and talking about the teams later in the week as we get closer to Wednesday when I want to do my college football. But I love just keeping in mind there's a lot of good teams in college football. Going to start number 20, the Iowa Hawkeyes. You know, they're a good team. At one time, they were ranked as high as number 2 in the country. If you think about that, facing Northwestern Wildcats defense, allowing 27 points and 420 yards per game. The Hawkeyes offense, 17 points, 361 total yards. They're a good team. I'm telling you, don't sleep on the Iowa Hawkeyes. Number 19, the Houston Cougars. It's a taste, sponsored by the Big C Burger. It's a tasty burger, and it comes with what's all those exotic meats. After remarkable last second win over SMU in Week 9, Houston came out flat against South Florida with the light shining, but they're a dominant team, the Houston Cougars. Think about those Good Boys. They have a chance to go out and win their conference. We'll see if they can do it with a 7-1 record. Number 18 in Big C's college football power rankings, the Pitt Panthers. Yeah, Pittsburgh Panthers star Kenny Pickett lost significant ground in the Heisman Trophy race last Sunday, but it's okay. They'll get the chance to bounce back because he's going to be up for the Heisman Trophy. I don't think he's going to win it. I still like Bryce Young out of Alabama, but we'll see what happens. It's all up to the voters. Number 17, the Baylor Bears, the good old boys. Number 17, Baylor never found a way to stop TCU quarterback Chandler Morris in Week 10, but they're still a good team. Morris had a 460-yard passing day and 70 yards rushing against the Baylor team. Baylor's a lot better than they played in that game. Number 16, the Wisconsin Badgers. This segment sponsored by the Big C Burger. It's a tasty burger, and it comes with what's all this exotic meat? Last I heard of Badger. If you like Badger meat, it's kind of a gamey. It's a gamey meat, but it's exotic meat. Wisconsin Badgers defense suffocating opponents right now, a week after decimating everything Iowa attempted. I'm telling you, that's a team that I'm going to talk more about tomorrow's show as I get it more into college football. Number 15, the Arkansas Razorbacks. This is sponsored by the Big C Burger. It's a tasty burger, and it comes with what's all this exotic meat? Like I said, a Razorback is an exotic meat. Kind of a gamey meat, but it's exotic. All fair level war. Missing out a spot in the committee's rankings. Arkansas made a statement Saturday, and you led by running back Dominique Johnson, 107 yards and 2 touchdowns. We'll get more into them of the weekend. The Wake Forest Demon Deacons. Told you they might fall. I mean, they had a tough game going up against North Carolina. Wake Forest earned its top 10 spot in the college football rankings of program history. But then North Carolina came to town, and they said, not so fast, my friend. I'll talk about that more tomorrow. University of Texas San Antonio, the Roadrunners. I'm not going to say. I got to say it. Sponsored by the Big C Burger. It's a tasty burger, and it comes with what's all this exotic meat? Last I checked, a Roadrunner is an exotic meat. Kind of a gamey meat. It's all fair and love and war. But they did not hesitate to give Jeff Taylor a 10-year contract extension because he has them going in the right direction. Number 12, Big C's college football power rankings. Number 12, the Ole Miss Rebels. Everybody expected a high-scoring affair when Liberty and Ole Miss stepped into the field, and that's what they got. But it's all fair and love and war. The 27-14 win, Ole Miss is back in the conference. Conversation for a New Year's Six bowl game, all fair and love and war. Number 11 in Big C's college football power rankings, the Texas A&M Aggies. Saturday's game changed when Bo Nix lost the football and Michael Clemens returned it for a 24-yard touchdown. And I told you that A&M would beat the Auburn Tigers or the War Eagles. It's all fair and love and war. Number 10 in Big C's college football power rankings, the Oklahoma State Cowboys with another undefeated team going down. Week 10, the surging Cowboys moved into the top 10 spot. The defense held opponents to 6 combined points in the last 2 games. That's a good football team with the Oklahoma State Cowboys. Number 9 in Big C's, oh my goodness, the NCAA college football power rankings, the Michigan Wolverine, sponsored by the Big C Burger. It's a tasty burger, and it comes with what's all this exotic meat. And we know that a Wolverine is a little bit gamey, but it's an exotic meat. The great Jim Harbaugh, who's got it better than us? When Blake Crum went down on Saturday, Michigan Stadium fell silent with their star running back sitting out for most of the entire game. But Hassan Haskins stepped up with a season best performance, and Michigan's going to be just fine. They don't rebuild, they just rebuild. Man, I kind of feel bad for the Michigan State Spartans. I was saying they got to be careful after that win over Michigan at home, and then they had to go on the road and take it on Purdue, which likes to upset teams. But I'm still going to put the Spartans at number 8 in the country. Michigan State head coach Mel Tucker said the team would not get caught up in a trap on Saturday, but you know the trap was waiting, and the Boilermakers did the trap. It's all fair and level war. They still got games against Ohio State and Penn State. Their chances are slim, but they still have an outside chance at a bowl Power 4 bowl committee. Number 7 in Big C's college football power rankings, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Give Notre Dame some praise. Whenever you say play like a champion, you got to give them praise. The Notre Dame Fighting Irish looking forward. They only lost 10 to the Cincinnati Bearcats. Notre Dame didn't have a little trouble stopping the triple option. They didn't have trouble stopping it. Normally they have a hard time stopping that. The Irish held the Navy midshipmen 166 rushing yards on 55 attempts. That's just 3 yards per carry, all fair and level war. Now I'm going to tell you as I get into the next in Big C's power rankings. Number 5, the Oklahoma Sooners. The good old boys still undefeated after a slow start to the season. Oklahoma's offense looks explosive with freshman quarterback Caleb Williams under center. The Sooners went into the bye averaging 49 points a game in their last 4 games. When you think about that, they're a good team, but they're not playing the best. They're a good team, but I can't say they're the best. It's all fair and level war. This team, the Cincinnati Bearcats, they're sponsored by the Big C Burger. It's a tasty burger, and it comes with, what's all this exotic meat? Last I checked, the Bearcat is an exotic meat, a little bit gamey. The Bearcats of Cincinnati. They need to blow out some teams to impress the playoff committee. Escaping with a 28-20 win over Tulsa that lost to UC Davis. Tulsa, the Golden Hurricanes, they are 3-6. Cincinnati, if you want to clamor about being in the top rankings, you gotta beat them. They're not even the best team in Ohio, but they're a good team. I'm going to say the team that I would say is the best team in Ohio. I'm going to bring them in. We only have a couple more teams, spot 1, spot 2, 3, and 4. Number 4, the Ohio State Buckeyes. I'm going to bring them in because they're good. If Ohio State earns a spot in the college football playoffs, fans got to thank Jackson Smith, Najib. One day, when running the game wasn't going all that great, the Heisman candidate C.J. Stroud made several mistakes. The Buckeye sophomore receiver saved the day with 240 receiving yards. They say a Buckeye is a nut. You'd be a nut not to have Ohio State in the top 4 in the country. All fair in level war. This segment is sponsored by the Big C Burger. It's a tasty burger, and it comes with, what's all this exotic meats? Number 4 in Big C's college football power rankings. I'm going to say the Oregon Ducks. They are sponsored by the Big C Burger. It's a tasty burger, and it comes with, what's all this exotic meats? The Oregon Ducks got a big win on the road at rain-soaked Husky Stadium in Seattle, Washington. A raucous crowd put the Oregon Ducks kind of in an uncomfortable spot, trailing conference rival early, but Travis Dye, 211 yards came through. This is a team that can run the ball. You got to have a running game in the rain. They can pass as well, too, but they can run the ball. Vardell, their top runner, is not there, but Dye is doing his thing running the football for the Oregon Ducks. So I'm going to give the Oregon Ducks a lot of praise for trying. They lost their best running back, but they still run in the storm. And I put the number 3 in Big C's college football power rankings. Number 2 in Big C's college football power rankings. Oh my God, do I got to do it? It's sponsored by the Big C Burger. It's a tasty burger, and it comes with, what's all this exotic meat? That's a hurt elephant can be quite exotic. Hey, I don't tell you what people eat. Alabama Crimson Tide quarterback Bryce Young strengthened his Heisman Trophy candidacy Saturday, even with a game that was far from perfect for the Alabama team. LSU played inspired football. 3 touchdowns are all Alabama needed against LSU when the defense plays as well as Alabama's defense can play. So you got to give them praise. And Bryce Young out of Santa Ana Mater Dei, I told you he's going to be the Heisman Trophy winner. My opinion. I mean, he's a good player, a young player, but he's doing his thing. And also, number 1 in the country, Big C's college football power rankings, the Georgia Bulldogs. That's right, sponsored by the Big C Burger. It's a tasty burger, and it comes with all the exotic meats. And last I hear, dog. Some people eat what they want to eat. Okay, don't laugh, but dog exotic. Another dominant win for the undefeated Georgia Bulldogs when they knocked out the University of Missouri. Georgia's defense held Missouri to 6 points and a 43-6 victory. And when you think about it, through 9 games, the Bulldogs have allowed just 53 points. The defense is legit. Give them all praise. Give them all praise. That's Big C Sports college football power rankings. Even in a thunderstorm and lightning, I still bring you the power rankings. It's all fair in level war. I really do appreciate the way things are going with Big C Sports Podcast. I want to close out today's show just talking about responsibility. The NHL Anaheim, the Ducks GM Bob Murray is on leave pending an investigation into, however people do things. Professional conduct. They placed Executive Vice President and General Manager Bob Murray on administrative leave pending an ongoing investigation related to professional conduct. The team announced that Tuesday. He's 66 years old, and he's been with the organization since 2005. But whenever you have conduct that is I guess you could say unsupported, not supported by the team, they're going to do their own investigation. There are some accusations of improper professional conduct against Murray, and the Ducks reviewed the matter internally and said that they had hired a law firm, Shepard Mullen, to perform an independent investigation. Upon a recommendation from their initial findings, they decided to place Bob on administrative leave pending final results. And then the interim vice president of hockey operations and assistant general manager, Jeff Solomon, is going to resume that role for the Anaheim team of the NHL. So it's just more stuff about, people got to do right. And obviously, whenever you have any type of accusation, they do an investigation to make sure that they're doing things the right way. It's all fair and level war. But that's why I want to just, don't jump to conclusions. Just make sure you do things the right way. As I love bringing you sports, everybody stay safe out there. It's a rainy day in Northern California. People drive slower. Sometimes people don't realize that it takes a car longer to stop, but make sure you stop and make sure you follow Big C Sports Podcast. Back in the day, there's a man by the name of Drew Boudini Brown. He was known as Muhammad Ali's right-hand man, and he would always tell Ali, you float like a butterfly, you sting like a bee, you rumble, young men rumble, with all you've got to use, how can you lose? He said, I eat so many Big C burgers, it makes me light on my feet. I'm pretty, and I can't possibly be beat. That's why I float like a butterfly, and I rumble, young men rumble. The great Muhammad Ali. I love bringing up Drew Boudini Brown. Back in the day, my beautiful mama always says, there's never ever an excuse for racism or domestic violence. If you know any man, woman, or child going through that garbage, pick up the phone and ask for help, because no man, woman, or child should ever have to go through that garbage on their own. As we always tell you on every Big C Sports Show, we thank you, we appreciate you, and we hope that you have a super fantastic day.